Hallmarkies podcast. We are so excited today. This is very, very, very special. We have two of our biggest Hall stars here to help talk about their new movie, the Nashville Christmas Carol, that's coming to Hallmark Channel. I am film critic Rachel Wagner. I'm so delighted to have Jessy Schram and Wes Brown here. And thank you so much for coming on the podcast to both of you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So I hope that you both have been doing well. I know this has been a crazy time. 2020 it's been nuts. But
what's going on different?
Yeah, it's been like any other, right? I mean, according to Hallmark, they're just going forward just like any other 40 movies.
Throttle.
It's amazing.
Only Christmas. It's always Christmas.
That's right.
Which, by the way, I love your background and your hat.
Thank you. If you all are watching the YouTube version of this, you can get the Zoom backgrounds on our website, hallmarkiespodcast.com/Zoom backgrounds. And they're created by our friend Jessica Miller. She designed them and they're free. So people should check it out. It's really fun. Yeah. And that's our little Christmas gift this year. You got to give a Zoom background, right? But yeah, so going in, we're just going to dive right into this Christmas Carol. It's very exciting. So we have both of you here. But going into this movie, did you have a favorite cinematic version of Christmas Carol before making this? What about you, Jessy?
I did. Well, here's the thing. I guess mine is like a spin-off of the Christmas Carol. So I love Scrooged, which is a Bill Murray movie. Yeah. And so that's a version of the Christmas Carol, but it's not, the classic Dickens style. If anything, it's a darker comedic version of it all. So that's my version, but I don't think I ever saw the movie all the way through as a kid. I only just would read it with my family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Scrooged is great. Especially, I love Carol Kane as.
Oh my gosh!
I think she's my favorite. I think she's so funny. So yeah, that's a very eclectic version. What about you, Wes? Did you have a favorite?
First of all, good question. But the two that come to mind is there's been several obviously, but one of the originals from the 30s, or was it the 30s or 40s? That was one of my favorites just because I love the artistic style of the old black and whites and the way they told that version. That was one of my favorites. My other favorite though was the one with Mickey and Donald, and where they I've probably seen that one more than any of the other ones. Scrooged is an obvious favorite, but where Donald was playing
like classic and like the only one I really actually remember, by the way. I remember like the people version.
Did you see the one where Mickey is Tiny Tim?
Yeah. Well, so Mickey is Cratchit, and I was loving that one, how he does Scrooge's laundry.
Yeah.
The raised when you started doing my laundry. I love Mickey's Christmas. I'm a huge Disney fan, so I love Mickey's Christmas Carol. It's one of the only examples where Mickey and company are playing other characters.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of fun. It's like as if they went into the Disney canon and cast the Disney characters. It's fun.
That reminded me of those old westerns where they just cost bags of coins.
Yeah, that's right.
There was no value to it. It's just like everything just cost coins, bags of coins.
Well, I mean, they're like diving into the into the pit of coins. That's what Scrooge McDuck is. So
coins and cash.
That would hurt. But yeah, no, that's a really good one. I love that one. And I also, you said we were talking about the black and white, the Alistair Sims. I don't know if that's the one you're talking about, but that one's my favorite as well. The classic Alistair Sims version is really good because they give like a little bit of backstory to Scrooge. They add a little bit more to it, which I think makes it really interesting. And so there's been a lot of really good made for TV versions. We actually did a special episode of the podcast with film critic Alonso Duralde, where we talked about a bunch of different versions, including they haven't done one on Hallmark for a long time. I as far as I can remember, I don't think they've done one since 2012.
Which one was that?
That was this Christmas Carol with Carrie Fisher. And
Oh,
I like it. It's really funny because of course Carrie Fisher's hilarious. But they just cast her as everything. She's Marley. She's all the ghosts. She's everything.
wait, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Why didn't we watch that yet? That's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's pretty
know.
good. I mean, you can tell she ad-libbed a lot, which I'm all about. I mean, she's
Yeah,
amazing.
makes her
So
own. Yeah.
I can't think of one. Lifetime has done a couple, but I can't think of any on Hallmark since then. So it's pretty exciting to get a new version. I'm really
Yeah.
looking forward to it. How did you feel when you got the opportunity? Were you pretty excited? Were you, Jesse?
Oh
Lady
yeah.
first.
I mean, definitely. I think, I looked at the name, but I wasn't sure, Nashville Christmas Carol. What is this just a title or is this
Hmm.
going to be, another version of that? So I was completely open. I wasn't thinking a Christmas Carol, to be honest, when I was reading
Yeah.
it. So going along, I mean, immediately when my version of a mentor shows up, which is played by Winona Judd in this movie, I was like, ooh, we get to do Christmas magic, and for me, like Christmas Carol and those different things are the classic thing growing up with Christmas. That's what makes me feel like the season's around. So
Yeah.
I feel like once the magic element came about in this script, it was super fun. But then I also forgot that like you read something on a page and like Wes, I don't know if you ever feel this way where it's like you'll read it and I'm so excited to be like young Vivian, older Vivian, this Vivian, all these things. And you're like, this is so cool. And then you realize you're like, whoa, I get to, and I also have to play all these different versions. So it was so much and it was so exciting. And for me, like I love that challenge. So I loved the elements of the magic and it being so um a new version of a traditional story, but also technically getting to take on this character in this story because there's so much in this movie.
Yeah. What did you think about that, Wes? Getting to be in a Christmas Carol. It's pretty exciting.
Well, first off, I'm really happy to hear that I was not the only one who, when I got it, I did not put Christmas Carol and Christmas Carol together. I was like, oh, a Nashville Christmas Carol. So what shall we be singing? And so I was like, oh, the Dickens one. Oh, I was like, I'm telling no one that.
So you let me say it first. You're like,
I
yeah.
let you say it first, and then I was like, oh, thank God. Now we get to tell a podcast.
Right.
That's
I
okay. Not that many people listen. It'll be good.
We listen.
Just kidding.
So not just to go off story, but I think Jessy might agree with me. I don't think she knew them beforehand, but when I got sent the script, it also came with who was producing it.
Mm.
And I had already done 2 movies with these group of folks, and they bring so much fun to this, and it's almost an embarrassment to call it work because I knew that they were going to bring a real professional element to it. I knew we were probably going to have something good in store just based off of who was attached to it already. And then the story was just kind of the icing on the cake. I was like, wow, I get to make another movie with these great people, good filmmakers. I knew it was going to be another good experience. And I don't know, Jessy, was I right? I hope I'm right.
It was, I mean,
That's Jesse's hairless cat pirate.
yeah, sorry. I can put him in another room.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Wes on Zoom and he's like, Wes. So he's just making so much sound.
Pirate's my guy. That's what happens.
We're pet friendly on Hallmarkies podcast.
Yeah, so he is making his appearance always because it's all about pirate. But yeah, I mean, I got to work with one of our producers, Samantha, on Country at Heart. So when you look at who's behind it, besides just the network and of course the brand of Hallmark, which I trust and respect and adore, you see who else is a part of the project. And I already knew that the quality was going to be something that I was excited about. And then after talking to them, they're fans of Wes's, so I was sold on.
Then she found out I was in it, and Jessy said Jessy's therapist told her it was going to be okay.
Gonna be fine.
Be okay.
Sign up now.
Deep breaths.
This was so much fun, and I feel like I've always loved who I get to work with. I've always been very lucky in who I get to be teamed up with, but I mean, this was a completely different experience when it came to camaraderie and really having a great time while still having a very like professional and fantastic set. It was just all around great.
That's great. Well, we're really excited about it. So this story, Christmas Carol, it has been told so many times, like we've talked about with Mickey and Muppets and Bill Murray and traditional takes and all animated takes and so many different versions. And I'm curious, what do you think about this story makes it so relevant in almost that makes it so relevant even today when it was written, way back in what, the 1860s? What do you think makes it so timeless about Christmas Carol? What do you think, Wes?
Um, for this story,
Hmm.
my initial takeaway is, to not sweat the small stuff and not let all these things that are overtaking your life, don't put so much weight onto everything. As Jesse's character goes in and she's freaking out about one thing or another, he kind of brings Christmas past and future, kind of is navigating her through life, showing her like, see, like, times are good, things are a little bit better than you're giving them credit for. So
Yeah.
that's my initial take on this story, because it is a bit different. It is a take on
Hmm.
Christmas Carol. It is not the retelling of it. If not, Jesse would be Scrooge, and
Right.
it is quite a bit different. So it is in fact a
Mm,
take on it, and not a carbon copy. So
right. What do you think, Jesse, makes this story so timeless?
I think there's even in our takeaway, I think that you have choice. In every version of this, choice is what comes down to play when you're shown your past, your present, possibly your future, depending which story you're watching or listening to. There's a choice as to how you want to go forward in life. When I feel like most humans on this planet can relate to thinking back on different things in their life and thinking about what they might have wanted to change or what they don't really think about or the things that they might have missed that one day come to light. So I feel like it's timeless because everyone can relate to having a past if you're in the present, and how you want to go forward from there, kind of reassessing your life. I think it's an assessment of your life, and I think everyone can relate to that.
there was an old quote that I liked that was something like, "If you have made it to today, then you have survived every bad day you've ever had."
Yeah.
And
Oh,
you can
I like
probably look back at stuff and be like, "Oh man, I handled that wrong. Oh, I was way wrong, and I'm wrong a lot." So
And that
I I
includes
I totally
2020.
get
We
what
did
you
it. We survived. Yeah,
survived
that's
that day.
that's really good. Yeah, I think what I really take from the story is, having not seen your version, but most versions, I love the idea there's no lost causes, that anybody can be redeemed, and that through the power of Christmas, through the power of all that stands for, that there's hope for anybody. I love that about it. I think it's a very hopeful message to the story. Well, so you're saying that your version of the sort of lead character, the Scrooge character, is a little bit different. Can you elaborate a little bit on that, Jesse?
Yeah, I mean, without giving away the message of the movie,
Hmm.
because you got to watch
Sure.
at that moment, without giving away our distinct message. I mean, I just remember sitting down with the producers and them saying, you would be the Scrooge, but you're not Scrooge, and we're just
Uh-huh.
trying to figure out this journey for you. And without giving away the message that we kind of reveal, I would say, she starts in the same place of being very much one-sided and one-minded. It's all about her career. It's
Yeah.
all about, maybe, my character Vivian has lost in her life. So different characters have come in and out, and therefore that makes her very guarded. So in the sense of we have a Scrooge, is we have somebody that's very guarded and not really open to allowing other things to happen in her life other than work. And so
kind of a workaholic type character.
yeah, but I
Yeah.
mean, very much, like keeping people at arm's length for a reason because she's been hurt. And, Wes's character, Gavin, comes in. He was her best friend. I say was because he was her best friend when they were younger, and something happens between them. And when they come together, you see that divide. And I think that that's what makes Vivian a Scrooge, is because she's not one to let her wall down. And so throughout the process of seeing the past and especially the presence and having his presence in her life now, you start to see that thaw. It's a version of Scrooge.
So is there a Cratchit type character in the story, or is that kind of like, do you have like an assistant type of character in the story, or that's the only one I couldn't piece together from the cast?
If it's an assistant type character, then that would be my sister Georgia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She's the one. She's got to get everything done, but she is also my heart. So I think that might be different, as she's my assistant, but she's also the only one that is near and dear to me and I care about.
Okay, good. All right. So the Winona Judd plays the Jacob Marley type character. Is that correct?
Yes, the mentor.
Yeah. So she gives you the warning, says the spirits are coming and everything, and so that must have been so fun to work with Winona Judd. Oh my gosh.
I think one of the coolest things about getting Winona and Kix and Sarah and all of these different spirit type characters is they are larger than life, at least in my mind, before they're coming to set. And we love them playing these characters because we want these people. We want these people as the spirits. And I mean, getting to work with people that are just so amazing and legendary in who they are and what they do in the world. Like, of course it's fun when they come to set. They add what they add to the character.
Was that just incredible, Wes, to get to work with Winona Judd?
Well, the only thing that upset me is I apparently forgot my bus with my name on the side of it. Yeah, you forgot your bus too, Jessy.
I didn't have a bus. I mean,
we were ill prepared in the bus department.
You both are country music. You sung country music. You both are musicians. That must have been crazy.
I know. I mean, the bus was left out of the writer. I'm definitely going to write a strongly worded letter to someone.
Yeah, we had dressing rooms, but they were not tour buses.
Yeah.
No, I actually didn't get to work with Winona, but I was there while she was there. And to kind of piggyback off of what Jessy said, it was like, and to elaborate a little bit more, like, yeah, as a fan of all music, but also country music growing up, I mean, to work with and then become friends with Kix Brooks and Winona Judd baked Jessy a cake, and I'm like,
what?
We connect.
Like, dude, Winona Judd's cake. I'm like, come on, are you kidding me? And yeah, getting to, and then after we would wrap, sometimes we'd go on the tour bus and just kind of hang out and relax, and it was surreal. I was like, man, people would pay a lot of money to get to do what I'm doing right now. You should sell tickets to this. It's like, oh, they do. They're called concerts.
Yeah.
Well, Wes, you had said something the other day that I think it like summed up how I felt about this experience with everyone that we got to work with. Or a lot of people are asking us about Winona or Kix and everything. And I think what was so cool is, yes, you're getting to work with people that are legendary and such pros at what they do, but I think I just enjoyed them so much as people. I mean, they were so warm and creative and fun to be around that like Wes said it the other day, them as people were just so awesome that it's an experience you can't compare to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Sarah kind of said the opposite. She goes, this is my first movie and I'm going to work with a bunch of actors and I'm expecting to hate everyone. And I, in fact, did not hate anyone. She goes, this has been very nice.
I was terrified to meet all of our musician folk though, because it's like, though we're all in a creative realm, like they're similar worlds, but so different. And it's like, well, you're in your realm. What are you going to be like? And until somebody gets to set, you do not know.
Well, I think this is such a brilliant idea because country music is such a storytelling medium, probably more than any other kind of music. And so to be able to kind of use these icons of country music to be able to tell a story just makes sense. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you'll enjoy it, and everybody brings so much character to their roles. It's definitely different.
Mm-hmm.
It is different from a lot of the Hallmark movies, just with the way that it's set up and the journey that we get to go on. Like it's a little bit different.
I'm excited about that. And so you got to work the most probably with Sarah. Is that right, Wes? Because
yes, out of them, yes.
She's you're managing her. She's your client. Is that right?
Correct. Yep.
So what was that like working with her? That must have been fun.
I just kind of tried to botch all of her songs behind her back when she was doing. So yeah, she was a blast. After I think she was Dustin had come after her first few takes. Dustin just came over and basically told her to just be you do you, and bring a bunch of Sarah Evans to Belinda's character, and she started to just have a lot of fun with it. There's a lot of ad-libbing in this movie, from a lot from us, but from her as well. No, it was great. She had a super fun personality. Her manager was actually there, so I just I stalked him to get into character. Other than that, it was a blast. Yeah. It was a lot of fun.
And so, Jessy, when you're with Kix Brooks, he's passed, right?
Yes.
And so when you're with
Pat, his name's Pat in the movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So when you're with him, so are you actually in those, or is it you like as a child, or
no? I'm
how do they do the past?
I mean, we're very lucky too, because we filmed this movie in two different cities, and Kix was gracious enough to be there in both of the cities. So I got to be, I mean, when we're past, we're going to see younger versions of Vivian and Gavin. So we're seeing younger versions of Wes and I, and then even younger versions, 10-year-old versions. And so whenever Kix is there taking me through, we're in the scenes together watching.
So you're watching so you don't have to play a younger version of yourself, or?
Oh, I do. We do. So we play all the versions besides the 10-year-olds.
Okay. Well,
that's tried that, but it just didn't work.
Nobody believed it, but
no one bought it.
That might be a bit of a stretch.
There's not enough acting coaching in the world.
Yeah,
so then you have Present, done by Kimberly Williams Paisley, which I thought was really brilliant because obviously her husband is a country music icon and she's amazing, but also because she's such a Nashville staple.
She was so much fun, and she brought so much, like the word I use, like every time that she would do a scene or a take, like you just smile afterwards. She brought so much joy to this character, and like you can't help but smile just from being happy when you see what she does. She's so fun.
Well, I was sitting in the back with Dustin behind the cameras, and I saw Kimberly's first take, and I go, "Oh, she's gonna do it like that? This is gonna be amazing."
She added so much that you wouldn't even think to do. Like she brought so much to this character. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see that. It's gonna be fun because she can bring the funny.
Bring the Nashville Christmas Carol.
Yeah, they brought that there.
That's great. So this was filmed in COVID, and so what was it, like August or September?
Yeah,
we started September 2nd. Well, no,
okay.
No, because of COVID, we had to do I guess somewhat of a quarantine for, was it 9 days, something like that. And then it was tested every other day. And there are parts of the film that had to be adjusted a little bit. Like you don't, it's not COVID in the movie. but
Sure.
there are things that, for insurance purposes, because that's basically the only way we get to make movies this year is that the insurance companies, they agree to insure these movies. So like, Country Christmas Live originally was supposed to have a big audience. Well, now it's the taping of something, the taping of it as you would like tape a pre-performance to a CMA award or something like that. But other than that, and that's a lot, I thought it was pretty normal, just except for the fact that everyone's wearing a mask and you don't know any facial expressions nor what anyone looks like or anything like that. So I shouldn't say it's too normal, but the process was somewhat normal with a lot of just a lot of things that we had to apply by, just to, to adhere to, just to be able to shoot the movie. But at the end of the day, we're all working through this, and the cast, the crew, the actors, a lot of people got to go back to work because they figured it out.
Yeah. It's so impressive. When they announced that they were going to do 40 movies in July, I didn't believe it. I was a skeptic, but they've done it. It's incredible. I can't believe it.
Well, we got
Unbelievable.
to do this one in the States too, where I know, Canada has a situation with where they're at, and I'm used to filming there more for a lot of these. And so when this came on the schedule, I was like, so where are we going and what kind of quarantine? And they're like, you're going in the States and all the hot spots, and we're going to do this and stay safe. And we're like, okay, I believe you, kind of. Yes, good.
Yeah. But you felt safe, you felt taken care of on the set and everything.
Yeah. And even like they did really smart things too. Like, for instance, I know Dustin Reichert, our producer, he's not here, so I'll give him credit. If he were here, I could never do that. It's not our personality. But like, for instance, it was a rule, you had to wear the N95 because the N95 is very uncomfortable to wear other than the way it's supposed to be worn. So that was just there was a little bitty things like that, and like we had lunch separately, and we wouldn't stack too many people in a van, like kind of only like 2 or 3, and so just little bitty things like that, I think, kept the process moving. And then we were very fortunate. I have friends that are on other projects that they were getting shut down left and right. I know Jessy was a part of Chicago Med that got shut down. But no, we were one of the few that we made all of our days. We finished on time and hopefully made a good product.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a film critic, I feel like I'm one of the only film critics that's as busy as ever. Everybody else is like, that's delayed, that's delayed, that's delayed. Oh no, I've got 40 Christmas movies to watch.
I do feel like, because getting to be part of the Hallmark family, like, we're busier than we normally would be during this. Like, it's like, in some way it feels like such a blessing. Once this movie came around, we got to have a semi taste of normalcy, of getting to work, even though it was a little bit different. And now getting to talk to you and promote the movie, I'm like, what do you mean? What's going on in the world?
Well, it's just so perfect, because what do we all need right now? We need these wholesome, sweet, comforting movies. I mean, it's just the perfect thing. So yay.
A friend of mine just moved, and she's not one that usually watches a lot of Hallmark, but her family does. So she's always texting me questions from her mom and different people. And she literally just moved, and I got a phone call last night just being like, all week, it's only been the Hallmark Channel. It's the only thing I want in my life. And I'm like, yes. Finally, you've come to our side.
Well, and so far they have been hitting out of the park. I've really been enjoying, and I don't know if it's just because I need it more. I mean, I always enjoy them, but usually there's a couple duds. But so far, I've just
they've been good.
Really, really enjoying I've really been enjoying what they put out there. So, well, I'm really excited about this. I love Christmas Carol, and I'm really looking forward to seeing this new version. And I thought before we go, we could just talk a little bit about just the country music side of it. And do you have a favorite country music singer? And you don't have to say one of the ones that was in the movie. We won't tell. Do you have
What
a
about you, Wes? Do you?
Kix Brooks. He let me ride on his bus. Can't help it.
No, he's so good. I mean,
Short answer.
You're like, he's not gonna get through an interview with mentioning the bus. No, no, Brooks and Dunn have been they are top. I mean, and Sarah Evans being part of my favorite genre of country, which was always that 90 country sound with George Strait and Alan Jackson. I mean, no, Brooks and Dunn and Sarah Evans, and then I find that Winona Judd's just a part of the classics.
yeah.
So, I really can't name a favorite. They're all in my top favorites.
Jesse, do you have a favorite?
George Strait and Garth Brooks, if I had to name, probably the top, but they're all up there, man.
Those are really good. Yeah, those are really good.
I mean, I think that's the hard part is like we have classics. And I mean, you mentioned Sarah, like she's part of that trio of when I was growing up, the Shania Twain and Faith Hills and like that pop country I like fell in love with the female version,
Dixie Chicks.
I was just about to say, but when I think like, if it's not Winona or Kix or different people, I would say like the Dixie Chicks stand out to me as still just like my favorite group when it comes to if I wanted to sit down and strum a song. Because I love, like the folk kind of Jewel stuff, but that's not country.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, my favorite, I mean, I love Reba. I think she's incredible. And I'd love her to do a Hallmark movie one of these days because she's done acting. It would be so fun.
She's a good actress.
Yeah. I loved her show. And so I'd love to do that. And I love her. And I also love Dolly Parton.
I was just about to say, please say Dolly, because like, what's that 9 to 5 song? I was listening to that like the other day. Like, what? So good.
Yeah.
She's such an amazing
Did they have a Broadway play 9 to 5? Or did I make that up?
Yeah, they did.
Like, Dolly's songwriting is just, you don't realize how many hits she's written. Her stories are so good. Like, there's just country. There's too many greats to just name like this one.
There's also they're maybe not Alan Jackson's or George Strait sides, but I mean, like, I remember, and I believe Sarah's manager manages him as well, but like the Clint Blacks and Tracy Lawrence, Dwight Yoakam's, like there's a whole genre of people that I don't know, I've always liked, because everyone's got kind of a different little sound,
Yeah.
So Dwight Yoakam has got that Bakersfield, California country. Tracy Bird, who I know, he's got that real South Texas twang. So it's like it's kind of hard to pick. Country has become like a genre amongst itself, where there's little subgenres of country now.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's true.
Some of today's country, I don't think it's country at all.
We would sit there and not argue, but we all sat down and we like had a conversation about what is country, what version of it, what is classic country. And like, I remember sitting there with Sarah and we were all, and Raylyn as well. Raylyn was talking about this of just like, what is country? What is that? What does classic country mean? Who defines that? Yeah,
there's a big fight. Like the fact that Taylor Swift is in the Grand Ole Opry, people get very upset.
Do they really?
But hey, she started out country at least. I mean,
She did, but the thing that I like, Taylor Swift, she just came out and said, I'm pop now.
Yeah.
Right.
So it wasn't country trying to be pop. It's just like, I'm just gonna switch genres. Which
That's true.
You know?
That's true.
Yeah, and over your lifespan, you should get to try out as much as you want to try out.
Yeah. But I also love the folksy side of country, like you were saying, Jesse. Alison Krauss, love her. Zach Brown Band, although their last album was not great, but for the most part, I love them.
Yeah, Emmylou Harris is beautiful, but she's more. But it's like there is that range there where I would call it more folk, where it could be country, but to me, it's a different little genre. Yeah.
Some really good songs. I mean, I love Carrie Underwood. She's so good. And it's hot. There's so many good songs, but I think probably one of my favorite songs is is probably Remember When, Alan Jackson. I love that song. That's such a good
I
song.
don't know that song.
Oh, you should look it up. It's really good.
I actually heard it was after September 11th. I watched a little interview with him, and he said he woke up at like 4:30 in the morning and sat down and wrote that song in one, in one sit down. It's great. It's about September 11th.
It's a beautiful song. I also love To Make You Feel My Love, whether it's Adele or Garth Brooks or whoever. I love that song. It's one of my favorites.
That's great.
So there's lots of good country music out there. So let us know if you're listening what your favorites are. Who would be your top picks?
I like Do I Dare by Jessy Schram. That was a really good one.
I mean, it's a little like, again, a pocket that might not be country, but it's a good one.
Hey, it all fits in this big.
It all comes together.
But you got lots of practice playing country music on Nashville.
It's true. It's true on Nashville and then Country at Heart. And I don't know if Wes has mentioned this. It's not country, but Wes just recorded a Christmas jazz album.
Ooh, I didn't realize that.
And I just realized it's on Sirius XM 70. So that was quite the treat.
Yeah.
So that's fun. What was that like, making a holiday album?
It was great. It's something that I'd always wanted to do, and I was planning on going to Nashville. To, like Jess said, it's not country. It's more of a jazz. At least 3 of the songs are. One's more. I don't even know what you would call the one I wrote. It turned jazz piano, and now it is what it is. So someone else can put it. Song. You can put it's a Christmas song. Cool. But it just so happens that this movie was ending in Nashville. So I just thought that, man, we're making a Christmas movie. I've already done a few. I've already recorded a few songs in prior films. So I was like, man, this seems like the timing just felt right. So I extended my stay in Nashville, got with my music producer and band leader, who did the music to this movie as well, and stayed for about another week and a half, and then now it's out.
Great, that's great. Well, if you give us all the information, we can put it in the description so people can find it.
Yeah, thanks for the plug, Jesse. Your check's in the mail.
Always. I feel like every day I'm like texting you being like, so did you get on this? I feel like you're public when it comes to your album, just so you know.
Well, I mean, that's good, because then that your character is a producer, so maybe you just were so method.
It's true. I'm constantly thinking of a music video for him. He just hasn't shown up to do it. So
I wasn't going to say anything, but since you did, that's great. Right on the money.
Well, very good. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us about the film. We're really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and so we appreciate it. And do you have social media that you'd like to share with us?
We do. I am Jessy Schram on everything. Jessy with a Y. J Schrammer, if that's what you want to look at too. But just look for the little check mark and it'll be me.
Great. And Wes, what about you?
Instagram only. It's Wes Brown 225.
Okay, great. We'll have that in the description section. Make sure you're all following Wes and Jessy, and let us know your thoughts. Tell us your favorite Christmas Carol in the comment section. We'd love to have that discussion. And make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast all over social media. And if you're listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. That really helps us out a lot. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate that. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. And we really appreciate it. We appreciate our patrons, and you can find our merch store, which has tons of festive designs. Take a look at that. And thank you so much again for coming. Really, really appreciate it. And we'll have to get in touch again after the movie. So Merry Christmas. Bye, everyone.
Merry Christmas, Rachel. Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Rachel, for having us.